Alrighty, I recently had the chance to go to a local chess club and play some over-the-board games with some genuine Texans, and it was an interesting experience. I'm still not quite used to over-the-board, thinking the same way due to the online play I've been doing, but it's been fun. I got permission to record these games and of course talk about them on YouTube. I get the first names and such. Um, and without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so this first game here I played with Alejandro. I'm here with the black pieces. I believe this was the Stafford Gambit, right? Yeah, yeah, there we go. So I went into the, well, this isn't the standard theory for it. Usually people take it, because it's like, I think, objectively better if you take it, but honestly, I'm not really used to the stuff that goes into this, but so I went for the trade, and at this point, I really not really sure what I'm doing. I did take a look at this game, but I thought maybe we can just like trade down and get there. Um, Usually that's better when you're ahead, I guess, but oh well. It's been a little bit since I've been through this now. So let's see. So far, I'm not really sure. Well, like what's the problem with this? It wants me to do what? To take this here and here because that's a pawn up, and also you can attack the corners, I guess. Yeah, seems to make sense there. Of course, I'm not really always looking for those breaks. Should be, I suppose. This here's a lot of pressure getting me to stop from castling. That's why I open up both sides. I mean, main thing here. See, at this point, I'm like, oh, well, I gotta have some extra defenses over there. I don't want to necessarily just throw all my pieces away. Yeah, of course I missed that chance, and I have to move the piece again, and that would kind of break my structure there, because now I can't move that up, and now it's a whole thing. So of course I castle opposite sides. I want to be more aggressive, but that unfortunately does make this into a pin, which I should have thought about. Yeah, then you're just going for the straight attack. Now that I'm over there, it actually has some more activity on this side, which is not really a good sign. But it can be a little bit tricky, I think, with it. I'm glad that I have the double bishop pair, or the double bishops, I guess, or just the bishop pair. I don't need to say both. Because you can do a mate with that, although it is a little bit tricky. We did that a while ago, and I haven't had to use it since, but, you know, theoretically, right? And at this point, we get the pawn, and then we get our bishop, so it's kind of an even trade right there due to tactics, but I don't know. I think usually it's better to have the rook than the pawns, especially whenever these pawns are they're not exactly all together, I guess. There's some edge cases and stuff, and it's kind of less good for the pawns that are going to be remaining. But they are generally together. It's not super isolated. But oh well. Okay, so at this point, now what is the computer trying to tell us here? Just losing the pawn, I guess, and we can protect it. But of course, the problem comes with our bishop can be trapped. I guess we lost our tire advantage there because maybe the structure was the important thing. It wants us to... Wait, I think we can maybe trap the knight here. Is that right? So if they get out here, then what's our big deal? Of course, now we do have some good lineup on the king, and we can kind of start inching up our way up here, and it can be a whole thing. But at the same time, this is, you know, why not? Here, I guess, would do that. And that's something, but oh well. I don't know what sort of crazy computer tactics we have missing here. It seemed to be okay enough for me. Oh, I guess they infiltrate and they get the pawn. Ah, yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah, I see. And also, this is this loses the bishop they could have had otherwise. Now, this is a pretty good little attack we got going here. Very threatening. You know, we have all these in here. Very sharp position. But I can bring that back. That was very much the downfall. That was Alejandro's chance to win, was to kind of trap this bishop. And he seems to be continually failing on that. Here, that is a nice trade that you could do. It does help get the heat off, because now it's defended here, and also, of course, by the king. and you can do all sorts of stuff like that. But that the pressure of that attack was totally relieved. And at this point, I think that was the turning point right now. That is just like a material advantage that we got, and that attack fizzled out, and fairly well defended with these pawn pushes. The opponent resigned at this point. I guess it's just well, with the plan of attack here is maybe try to, well, number one, actually protect all these assets that we have. These are nice clumped together. There's the king, and then the knight can usually stave off both of these, and then we can just do a relentless pawn push over here, try to get these knocked down, and then just have our material advantages across the field. These pawn pushes are really going to be doing it, I think. And that was just going to be too much. Although, maybe, I think it might have been worth playing out because I definitely did some blunders back here. Like, if let's take a look at the graph. Yeah. So there was definitely some chances here whenever I trapped the bishop, and the bishop's been materially ahead. I don't have any counterplay, and that's it. But, whenever it's over the board, you don't see that. It's just a completely different vision that you have. Anyway, let's head over to the second game, and they switched around. This was more like, I guess, like classical time oriented. We took about 30 minutes each. We're there for about 2 hours total. And so it's kind of a different medium that we usually do. Maybe I should start doing some online classical games so you can see the commentary with it there. But for this one, I believe it was the... What do we do here? Oh, yeah, this is the birds opening. Yeah, I had done a little bit of study of this. I'm not sure if I've recorded this one or not. But I kind of enjoy the F-pawn. It's maybe the Dutch defense is a little bit okay, but to kind of like mix it up a bit, bird does pretty well. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite turn out as good as I would expect. Now, we're kind of in a better position here, and to be honest, I don't understand why exactly. And I guess that explains why I kind of immediately break it. I guess we do have a large amount of space. Our piece activity is pretty good. We have, our knights actually protecting the center. The center is actually ours to most degree here. It can be cut open, but I think that with some with tempo, we could probably get out there. So like if they start cutting these in here. Anyway, that's not what's happening. We have the queen move out to the front, and honestly, I don't think that's that bad of a position to be put in for black here, because it can get quite dangerous, especially when I don't know how to defend against it. I try to close up here and kind of make that queen less useful. And here we are trying to exchange the knights for the bishops any way we can. At this point, yeah, we can do the quick trade and all that, and I go ahead and take it for free, even, because the knight, or the rook is now down. To be honest, I expected something like we move this bishop up, I would take it here. That was my original plan with it. But I gotta say, I kind of lucked out on that one, with that. So I said, okay, well, we'll just trade down now that we have that. Unfortunately, that knight is super isolated. If that pawn falls, which, it can do it right here, come down here, then that's going to be the whole thing. But, or, add some more attackers onto it, that kind of thing. So I said, maybe I should try castling, but no, I can't do that. The king has moved. And now this central pawn structure that I have is it's really starting to fall. I've got attacks on all angles here. And this comes up, this goes in, and this is under attack. This twice. And it's a whole big deal. I think you can kind of mosey on out of there. Get it here and here, here and here, but there's some sort of stuff going here. Also, this can come down, and that's double attack, and it's quite a big deal. So that's what we should have done. Unfortunately, this has an attack here, and I guess that can come down, and that also breaks up here, and that's the double attack I mentioned before. I believe that's what you're supposed to do, but what ends up happening is he just doesn't take that. He takes the pawn, I guess, because I think the human players have been focusing so much on like promotion, and of course I have the tendency to be tripping my bishops around here. Well, let's see. I guess they want to. That can trade down here if you want. So this is our bishop's trapped. And if we were to push up here, then that's no longer attacked twice. So that trade can't happen anymore. Anyway, but I don't do that. I try to get my knight out of there, question mark. Maybe he's like try to save the bishop. I don't even know what I was thinking at this point. And he can stake it. But again, he goes for try to go for the mate for it. Ends up not quite working out. And of course I take the wrong way, and so they're still there. So finally, he decides to take my knight. Say, well, okay, the main attack didn't work. Well, let's go and take it. So at this point, he is materially ahead, and I'm in some big trouble. So I think, well, okay, you know what? We gotta have an attack. We gotta start pushing these things, right? We gotta start getting these pawns up, promotion, the whole deal. We can really nail down this defense here with these pawns and really utilize what we have. Maybe we can get out in the end. So I'm saying, all right, let's maybe if we get up here, then we can push this guy up. Maybe that can be a mate. That's another threat to worry about. Or we can just keep on pushing these up with this defense. Even if you got it pinned, it's still the king can't go there. So it's good for us, right? I don't want to go for the trade. You don't want to go for the trade on that. And of course, like I mentioned before, we can start getting this guy up here. It's going down. This guy's going up, and now we've got. That would be a nice mate right there, right? So let's say we push this guy down. We go up here. All the way, king can go down here, up, and then that would be mate right there. A little fun little thing that I'm trying to set up. The only hope is to do some crazy tactic, This is one that I didn't actually see, but you see how this rook over here, it can't, come over the back rank. The only thing that's protecting it is essentially this king, right? This king would have to march him down and stop it. So if we can get it over here, then it's like, uh-oh, what do we do? We can't sacrifice ourselves and all that, but it still comes with check. It still comes with check. So now we're materially ahead, and it's well, not exactly over. This past pawns are pretty good, but it's more difficult for sure. It would be a big turning point, as far as my amateur analysis goes. But of course, at this point, my idea is to still just kind of push this, but that body blocking with the pawn was basically all we have. But now with the king able to actually defend, it can just shot itself directly in front, and that's that. But it isn't quite over now. You see, we can still, if I can get my rook in here, that would be mate, wouldn't it? Because this is protected, and that's the rook is getting those pieces. So it's actually still a little bit of a dangerous move to be settling over there whenever this bishop is around. It looks pinned, but it's still dangerous for that. So we tried to go in for the trade, and I said, you know what? I'll go and do that. However, well, okay, trying to push this pawn to say, okay, I don't want to think about this anymore. That is a mistake. That did him in here, because, like I said before, this is protected. This is if we can get our knight up or our rook up here, and so that would be it. So as we ended up doing it, and that was that. The lesson to take from this is that even whenever you are materially ahead, you do have to think about the tactics. You have to think about what kind of defenses can go on. And in fact, there was plenty of times where my opponent here could have, gotten out. Let me see. How would I have gotten out here? Let me see. Is there some kind of get this guy in here and oh, I don't know, something or other. Maybe like sacrifice one of these pieces here, get this guy out, and here, 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 and then now we can promote and body block up here, and this is just too close, and then win from that way. So that's one way that you could have gotten out of there, I believe. I don't actually have the computer analysis on because I want to try to think about it. Yeah. So thing is, don't overestimate, or don't overestimate yourself, underestimate your opponent. Yeah. So I ended up getting 2-0 on that. But realistically, I think that I probably should have lost the second game, but I guess that's not what happened. Right. Okay, so now I played with another fellow by the name of Jim. Very friendly guy. Although I gotta say, I felt really welcome in the chess club there. Positive reviews for sure. I started out as white on this one. I go for the classic king's pawn, And I'm not really familiar with this opening. I played like the Pirc defense or something like that, and so I'm kind of also throwing off my game here. I gotta say that the meta for this chess club is way different than what I found online on League Chess. That is absolutely for sure, because most people at my level they go in, play into the English gambit, play into the Stafford, and we see that a lot. So at this point, I kind of go against my rule where I try to value bishops more, and I gotta say that that also threw me off. I'm not really sure what I was doing, especially whenever I just straight up, um, you know, uh, lose a pawn, go into these bishop attacks, and it's like, look, what am I doing? So I'm like, okay, I'll try to be fundamental. I'll try to take as many places as I can, and maybe I can get like crazy with the tactics, right? So, fundamental, add some tactics onto it, and no, this doesn't work. This is just a straight up blunder that makes me lose more material, and I have to say the game is probably lost at this point. So you can just bring this down here, then that doesn't defend the pawn and the what you would call it, the bishop. It just forks myself basically. It's totally avoidable. Just take the pawn loss and go from there. Of course, one pawn at a time is how you bleed, but you know, I decided to not lose the pawn for some reason. Bad calculation all around. Now at this point, it's just consolidation. I try to get in the center and avoid the tactics and such, but it ends up not working. The checks are just too much, and I resign at this point. 8 points behind. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really getting that. I don't have any pawn future in here. These are blocked as well, and there's just more material. The king's in a bad place. Yeah, it's just going to be overwhelming. So I go out with that. Takes on this one, just honestly, just think a couple moves ahead. I think it was just pure laziness that really got me on this one. Yeah, and of course, not really having a favorable position in the opening, not really have core ideas of how to fight against the Pirc defense. Yeah, not really seeing where to go. Losing the fundamentals, my fundamental properties, where I tried to keep the bishop pair. That was just a bad move, and really my game was thrown off by that. Trying to do it with fancy pins and stuff, even though that had little practical effect. It was just kind of doing it for the sake of doing it, and that didn't work out too well. So yeah, for goodness sakes, that was the problem right there. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at this last game here. So let me see. This was the Englund gambit. That's right. And usually people take it, but at this point, I said, well, I'll just take a lot of space. I'll take that space as much as I can. But don't worry about the fringes. I have more space with my rook to look into. So just keep on pushing. Just keep on pushing. And as far as the computer's concerned, it actually thinks that it's not too bad. I think here is the pivotal moment in the game, though. Right here. Because if you, let me see here. If you push this open and you take this, then, well, I think I'd probably want to do something like up here, right? I think that we start opening up the king. It doesn't have a lot of maneuverability. All the pieces are really focused, like, over here. These aren't really defending as much. And we can start getting these guys started up. Maybe, well, I don't know. Maybe get this guy out of here and get the queen in. Out of here, queen in. Become like a fishing pole attack. Then we can really start doing stuff. But unfortunately, I just said, oh well, I have to absolutely do the en passant, because you can't anarchy chess, right? I don't actually follow the Reddit on there, but I hear the tales of it. And at this point, my defenses are really starting to fall. I have these backwards pawns. I've overextended, and my attack just kind of fizzled out because I didn't go for it. I accepted the lockdown, or I guess well, it wasn't really a lockdown attempt. This is kind of like a break, I guess, but I didn't break in quite the right way. It was definitely a failure on understanding the mechanics of pawns. How I could have defended here, I guess, yeah, that makes sense. That would have been like a poor attack, so they wouldn't have done it. I can kind of consolidate around here for safety. Then yeah, I can see that, but that's not what ended up happening, of course. Yeah, so I just lose that. The defender's gone. It's big attack and stuff. And also here is a big defense. That's kind of a pen, I guess you can do. You know, it'll be a problem later. And here, how would I get out of this? Not like that, right? Oh no, no, no. It was there's the defending here. Yeah, this was a pretty good attack that I didn't see a way to get out of. I think that can you no, 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 you can't castle because of the whatchamacallit, the bishop in here. Although I believe we tried talking about that, but I was like, oh, I can't do it on the. What I did is I had my cellular device on the side. I was tapping in the moves there for it because I'm actually rather slow with the coordinates still, as I'm sure early listeners to the channel will maybe remember from my riveting coordinate gameplay. Um, I found that to be a lot better. I said, oh, why? Oh, I can't cancel right here. And we both said, like, oh, yeah, you totally could legally, but I said, probably not the best move, which, of course, it's not because of this bishop here. Board vision, it can get you too. Although it would be nice to have a pin up here and kind of the whole thing, but that's not what happened, of course. So now I'm kind of like materially behind, I believe. And although the position isn't too terrible, there's still some defense that we can do. Now I'm just, you know, it's surprisingly pretty neutral. Oops, didn't quite do that. I wanted to go down here. It goes back and forth a couple of times, but you know, very rather sharp for being behind. I gotta say, not giving up is actually pretty nice. Um, Now my idea here is that, well, it's the pin. You know, you can go up here and that'll be made, right? Like you're not gonna go for this, right? Um, but that's well, that's not what it is. That would be an equal trade, right? Here. And that would just put me behind, right? So let's say we go for here, then I go for this, and I go over here, and I'm back up here. Well, I just don't have a rook anymore, so still not good. So I just had pure calculation there, going for the fanciness of it all, really. It doesn't get taken for me, though. I think the only way out is really to force myself into a fork. But, well, maybe we can still try to have him think about it, right? So I go into the little crucible here. It can't move here, can't move here, can't move here, but with enough pieces to defend, it kind of works out. And the idea is, hey, maybe we can, you know, we can go for the attack still, try to get in here and get at him or something. Something, you know, some kind of counterplay. And here's a nice little tactic. You can deflect the king, you know, get him out there, and there you go. That was nice, but of course we're still way behind. And we have ourselves another pin to defend, but we're have a womanly force here. This can come down. That's a pass pawn. That's a pass pawn. You know, that one too, and there's just more material on the other side. It's really not looking good. So we do end up consolidating down a little bit. It's surprisingly, here was another attempt to maybe we could, you know, let's say go in here and try to, I don't know, maybe like trade down here or something, and then we just push the pawn because that's actually quite far ahead. That's kind of our biggest asset right now. But of course, don't let it happen right there. Pawns, they end up being a much bigger part of the game, the promotion, than I've really seen in the past. Now we kind of have a stalemate position where if I can get this guy up here and try to mate, then that would be a problem, and so you can't take the bishop, you know, up here and so on. That would be the whole thing. What actually ended up happening at this point of the game was we were shuffling around for a little bit, and I believe right here, no, right here. Yeah, here, our lovely friend decided to try to push, and this would have been made here, but we decided against that just to see where the position would have gone. And with enough shuffling around, yeah, I determined that yes, the king can be put in mortal peril here, and the pawns will be enough to come out in the end. Just like, although this knight was kind of like out of the game due to our queen, with like enough geometry and checking, then it really does come out. And so it was getting kind of late. We decided to stop it with Jim being the wither on this one, so that puts me at 0-2, perfectly equal as far as wins and losses. But it was a really fun time, and I feel like I did learn stuff. Mostly about
looking at the board as a physical thing rather than seeing it as 2D representation. I think that was actually really good for slowing down and thinking about the concepts. And as far as it comes to classical games, I think fatigue was a big thing. I just kind of got like tired of calculating after like an hour and a half of doing it. And that did come back to bite me, but it's something that I think that I would be better next time. This is what skill is all about. Anyway, that's about it.